Hello, and welcome to GC 360. I'm Hunter Marks.
And I'm Brooke Wallace. On this edition of GC 360, we update you on Habitat for Humanity's efforts in one of Milledgeville's poorest communities.
And I go out on the town to debunk some of the myths on the government shutdown. All of this and more on this edition of GC 360.
Downtown restaurants used to allow smoking late at night, when the restaurants became more like bars. The owners had interpreted a state law barring smoking in restaurants to mean smokers could light up after 10 p.m., when people under 18 were not allowed in restaurants and in effect became bars. No more. In May, the City Council told owners to ban smokers at all times to comply with the state law. And that raised a variety of concerns. Reporter Iris Cochran takes us downtown to see how the changes are going.
Change has come to the bars in downtown Milledgeville. Smoking is no longer allowed after 10 p.m. Bar owners and managers are adjusting.
Well, so far it's going pretty well. I'm impressed with not only how the restaurants have immediately complied and been happy to comply, but I'm impressed at the customer base, particularly the younger crowd, who is more likely to be the ones in these establishments at late night hours.
Actually surprisingly smooth. Right before it happened, bartenders and managers were all kind of talking about it was probably going to be a pain, like telling 20 people a night that you can't smoke, but it was really, for the most part, really easy transition to go, cutting, from one day not smoking to the next day, or one day smoking, the next day not smoking. This has been very easy.
And it really hasn't caused a problem so far. So as long as everybody's doing it, I'm totally fine with the law. But it's, if anybody else were not to do it, you'd have an unfair advantage. So, but it seems like everybody downtown is doing it, so I don't have a problem with it at all.
Downtown restaurants that turn into bars at night used to allow smoking after 10 p.m. But that changed in May, forcing smokers out of the bars onto sidewalks to smoke raised concerns. Concerns about safety because trucks roll through downtown late at night, and concerns that smokers would litter the sidewalks with cigarette butts.
As soon as we leave every night, 3:30 every morning after bar shift, the entire concrete right in front of our building, and I'm assuming right in front of every other bar as well, there's just, it looks like leaves. There's just cigarette butts everywhere.
Walter Reynolds will join the City Council after the November election.
I think that perhaps the answer may be putting in additional smokers stations throughout downtown. If we're going to force them outside, perhaps we should provide adequate accommodations for them to put their butts. The trash cans have smoker stations, and then there are also separate smoker stations as well.
For the restaurant owners and patrons, there is another upside to the change.
It doesn't smell like cigarette smoke the next day. It doesn't take all day to air it out just to be that way again. It seems to be cleaner in here now, so overall, I like it.
Iris Cochran, GC 360 reporting.
The first day of fall was just a few weeks ago, and you know what that means. Scarf and sweater season is just around the corner. Hannah Smith is here in the studio to show us the latest fall trends.
As the leaves begin to change and the temperature begins to drop, styles are transforming for the upcoming season. Ladies and gentlemen, the fall fashion season is in full swing. As a college student, it is sometimes difficult to always be dressed to the nines while on a budget. And we all know that Milledgeville isn't the fashion capital of the world, but there are a few ways to shop affordably with availability of boutiques and stores located on Highway 441. The struggle is finding clothing pieces that work for you, mixing them up, and putting them together in hopes of flaunting your individual style. Fall in Milledgeville is a perfect time for coffee, walks on campus, and looking stylish at all times. It's that time of year to put away your sundresses and shorts for scarves and sweaters. Here are a few fall style tips to remember while shopping this season. Ladies, trade in your jeggings for some leather pants. This year's fashion is targeted as chic and cool. The colors for fall fashion this year include a lot of mixed neutrals and funky Aztec patterns. In previous seasons, black and brown neutrals were never to be worn together, and this year they are a fashion must. If you ever question whether something matches, chances are for this season your outfit is a go. Jewelry, scarves, and shoes are the perfect accessories to include spunky colors into your wardrobe. Boots are a must-have for this season that practically complete any outfit. Boots are perfect for any occasion alongside riding boots. If you plan to splurge on any item for the season, don't let it be your purse. Let it be your boots because you'll get the most use out of them. They're useful to have for casual outings or to dress up to wear downtown. Hot items for the season include faux furs, knee-high boots, and chunky jewelry. Chunky jewelry is fun to wear downtown with a dress or even to wear with a t-shirt to dress up a look. Don't be afraid to layer necklaces or different color metals. Also, don't be afraid to mix up your style with big sweaters, layers, and full scarves. They are great to keep warm as the temperature begins to drop. Sleep in this fall. This year, an up hairdo is a must. No need to have to straighten your hair for hours on end every morning to finish your look. A simple ponytail completes a stylish and edgy look. Remember to always stay true to yourself and true to your style. And gentlemen, trade in your polo shirts for button-up Oxfords and Sperry's for cowboy boots. Cowboy boots and jeans can pull off for a casual or dressy occasion. Pair your boots with simply a t-shirt or a nice dress shirt, depending on your look. Ladies are suckers for a man in cowboy boots. Best of luck this fall fashion season, ladies and gentlemen, and stay tuned for more style tips this season. Back to you, Hunter.
Thanks for the tips, Hannah. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll gauge student opinion about the government shutdown.
The construction of the new archway to West Campus has finally come to a close. The new entrance is now open and students will no longer need to use the Blandy Road detour to get to West Campus. So keep this in mind as you travel to intramural games, the gym, or West Campus apartments.
College rankings are out and Georgia College keeps moving up. Georgia College has continually been ranked as one of the top regional universities in the South, according to U.S. News & World Report's Best Colleges Guidebook. Georgia College has moved up to 10th place in the 2013 edition. It was the only university in Georgia that was named as one of the top public regional universities. The Princeton Review named Georgia College as one of this year's best in the Southeast as well. And this year, even our intramural program has been nationally recognized. BestColleges.com ranked intramural programs based on variety, leadership, and facilities. They listed Georgia College as one of the best intramural sports schools in the country.
More trouble arose in Washington last week when a woman attempted to drive through a barrier near the White House on Thursday. She then sped towards Capitol Hill, leading police on a high-speed chase that caused a lockdown of the area. The pursuit ended when she got in her car and stuck on the median, and the police shot and killed her. The driver was a 34-year-old Miriam Carey, whose 1-year-old daughter was also in the car during the encounter. She reportedly had been suffering from a psychiatric condition and had gone off medication. Questions have been raised about whether police used excessive force. Last week, we told you about the partial government shutdown. This week, Hunter went out in the field to find out what people think is going on and to debunk some myths about the shutdown.
I just heard basically students talking about it, about the government being shut down.
I've been told that different departments of the government are being shut down.
It seems everyone has heard about the recent partial government shutdown, but some seem to be confused about what it means for them, Milledgeville, and our country.
Because of difficulties in agreement inside of Congress.
Well, the Congress was having a hard time passing the fiscal year, the budget for the government.
The partial government shutdown was caused by the partisan disagreement over the new Health Care Reform Act, commonly known as Obamacare. But interestingly enough, Obamacare went into effect on October 1st anyways.
But, they're just, the Republicans are just holding out because they think that the health care law is really just has a lot of flaws in it.
Oh, yeah, it was portable. Because it was warming away.
Unless you're planning a trip to Washington, D.C. or one of our nation's national parks, chances are students will not feel effects of the recent partial government shutdown.
The word shutdown is really misleading. It's not a full government shutdown. We still have the essential services. Teachers are still getting paid, troops are still getting paid. Schools like Georgia College are still getting their money.
The Environmental Protection Act, the CDC, and other government agencies are being put on hold, but due to their absence from Milledgeville, the local community will likely not see a large effect. Things like the U.S. mail, military, and even the Social Security will continue most normal operations. A recent CNN article says that the biggest hit would be to the collective psyche, meaning a decline in American patriotism and a loss of faith in our country's leaders.
As a citizen who voted to put all these people in office and they came and worked together, it's really frustrating.
It's frustrating that they can't get along, and that's why this is happening, but I want them to come to a deciding, opinion so that this isn't happening.
Today marks the 8th day of the shutdown, and even though Milledgeville has felt very few direct effects, the national economy is definitely taking a hit. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has dropped over 200 points in the past week.
Government shutdowns are costly and disruptive. The last time this happened, in 1996, the government was closed down for 21 days. This time, there's a new worry about an even bigger crisis than the shutdown. It's called the debt ceiling.
Periodically, Congress has had to raise the debt ceiling to pay for obligations authorized by, you guessed it, Congress. Raising the ceiling allows the United States to pay those obligations by selling bonds, therefore borrowing more money. In years past, raising the debt ceiling has been a routine, nonpartisan event. But since President Obama was elected, Republicans in Congress have tied the debt ceiling increase to other issues, mostly involving cutting government spending. They've said essentially, we'll raise the debt ceiling, but only if spending is cut significantly. Otherwise, no debt ceiling increase.
And not raising the debt ceiling would trigger a default, something that has never happened in the history of this country. Democrats counter by saying to the Republicans, you cannot and should not threaten a U.S. default to get your way on budget issues. We should raise the debt ceiling and then work out our differences on the budget.
The deadline for this is coming up on October 17th, and with political parties still at each other's throats over the shutdown and Obamacare, Americans are on the edge of their seats to see if they will put aside their differences to raise the debt ceiling or let the country plummet into default. And that could have profound consequences for all of us, even here in Milledgeville.
This weekend, GC360 met with Captain Brad King of the Baldwin Sheriff's Department to discuss a local incident of check fraud. Reporter Tristan Harrison has the story.
An article published in the Union Recorder last week reported on an investigation into a case of check fraud. Captain Brad King tells us more.
The Baldwin County Sheriff's Office started an investigation into fictitious checks probably a month ago. We had one Baldwin County citizen whose Mid-South Federal Credit Union account had been compromised. A check was used with their account number in Canton, Georgia. We found that a victim had never been to Canton and had no idea of where the check came from. We established that the check was fictitious, but it did have the correct account number on it. As we started looking into trying to get some video from the store, we were able to get video of our suspect and his vehicle.
Though the investigation is still pending, King is fairly certain the suspect will be apprehended soon.
We have victims in various cities and states, and he's actually used those checks, fictitious checks, in several counties in the mid-state and also several states. We have found that Baldwin County has about a dozen, Bibb County has twice that, Monroe County, Peach County, Houston County, Cherokee, Baldwin. So right now we are pursuing him. I actually have a detective who's assigned to the Organized Fraud Task Force with the Secret Service in Atlanta. Lieutenant Bobby Langford has been working this case from the very start, and he is working in conjunction with the Secret Service and all of the local jurisdictions. We plan to turn this into a federal prosecution. We have uncovered so far about $50,000 worth of fictitious checks that either this person or this person in conjunction with others has passed at mainly Belk stores, Lowe's, and Walmart.
Reporting for GC360, I'm Tristan Harrison.
When we come back, Nick Landon brings us up to speed on Bobcat sports.
All right, welcome back to GC360. Well, folks, it hasn't been a hugely eventful week in sports for the Bobcats, but we've got a couple of highlights and some lowlights for you. Dessert first, let's start with the highlights. Georgia College has had solid tennis teams the past few years. Good news, it appears as though this year is no exception. More good news, we had a chance to sit down with a valuable member of the Bobcats tennis roster and Athlete of the Week, Mattia Campus, to talk about his hometown, his passion, and his teammates.
I was playing tennis for myself. I was going around playing tournaments, traveling a lot by myself. Here tennis is different. It's like a team sport. Yeah, well, the teammates around you support each other. All of our teammates, we're watching. So, when I'm on the court, I kind of live my emotions sometimes. So we play next to each other when we have our games. We play next to each other. We actually support each other during our matches. Everybody's there, right there. Like when we play against another college, like everybody's there. Everybody from the team is there. Girls, everybody's cheering for the team. Everybody screams Bobcats. It's so unusual to me because back home, I always support myself. I always supported myself, just myself. I never had an American coach before. Well, he's helping me a lot. We're still bonding, since my second semester here. I first met him in September last year. He gave me a good impression, and I think I gave him a good impression too. I played this guy last semester at regionals, in the semifinal at regionals, when we were playing as a team. I lost to that kid. I still remember that match. I was pretty disappointed after the match. We ended up winning that semifinal as a team. So I hope to play this guy again. Looking forward to spring, we will have to work hard for the playing as a team. Everybody has their weakness. Everybody has a good potential, I guess. So everybody has to work hard during the semester. I'm looking forward to spring, for the spring as our season starts, and I hope I'll have a great time here in the U.S. Definitely, it's going to be an amazing experience. A little bit of bad news for you guys. Unfortunately, you'll have to wait until spring to catch Mattia and company in action, but you'll have plenty of other athletic events to keep you busy until then. In other sports news, our Bobcats cross-country guys and girls both took first place in the Bridgestone Pacer Invitational, hosted by USC Aiken last Friday on the 4th. This is Georgia College's men's cross-country team's second straight first-place finish. The women's team came off of a second-place finish in the previous event and had all 5 of their runners finish in the top 10 at last week's meet. Both teams looked to be in the driver's seat for the Peach Belt Cross-Country Championships at Georgia Southwestern at the end of the month. Our cross-country teams will be traveling out to Virginia this Saturday for the Captain Chris Invitational. Baseball may be out of season at Georgia College, but the postseason rages on in the MLB and other professional baseball leagues. And one of our own Georgia College alumni and pitcher Alex Burkhardt was just named to the Canadian American Baseball League All-Star team. The Southpaw boasts the best ERA in the league at .247 with the Trois-Rivières ball team. Speaking of baseball, our Atlanta Braves were eliminated last night in Game 4 of the National League Division Series in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. The Atlanta Braves allowed an 8th-inning comeback from the Dodgers to end the series, and the Braves go home with a disappointing end to a spectacular season. Our men's basketball team has released their schedule for this season under head coach Terry Sellers, who is in his 21st season. The Bobcats will begin play November 11th at the Centennial Center against the Clark Atlanta Panthers in what should be an exciting season opener. That's all we have for sports this week, guys. Back to you.
Thanks for the update, Nick. When we come back, we update you on Habitat for Humanity's effort to revitalize the Milledgeville community. In a previous newscast, we told you how Habitat for Humanity is changing directions and moving towards sustainable living for the Harrisburg community. Harrisburg is considered one of Milledgeville's poorest communities. Today, we have Murali Thermal, Milledgeville's Habitat for Humanity director, here to update us with their efforts. Murali, what's new since we last met with you?
So a lot has changed, evolving as we always try to keep ourselves moving forward. We have the surveys for the sub area. I call it a sub area because we didn't survey all of Harrisburg. It's just a subset that we surveyed. We've got the results in. We're evaluating those results. And I think one of the next big steps is actually the fundraising efforts to make some of those changes we like to do there. And then actually do on-site visits for those homes that we will be working on.
Definitely. And what kind of questions were in the surveys?
So the survey was a quality of life kind of a survey. How well do you like this place? Do you have any security issues? Would you live here for the rest of your life? If you had a choice, would you invite a friend to move into this neighborhood? Those are the kind of questions that we had.
Definitely. And where does Habitat go from here? What kind of fundraising efforts are you looking at?
That's a good question because without money, nothing gets done. And we try not to be like Washington if we can. And we just go ahead and keep it going right along. We're right in the middle of a fundraising drive right now. So it's a direct mail fundraising that we actually share with the community what we're doing in Harrisburg and see if they will respond with a few checks and some cash. There is at least one business out of Milledgeville that has underwritten a $1,000 project to do some renovations in those homes.
Wow.
And this is just the beginning, actually. This is an ongoing process, but it's the beginning of a very exciting time for us.
Well, that's awesome. It sounds like you've already got some great partners stuck with you. What efforts are you making towards getting other businesses in the community to hop on and help push the effort?
Well, I thought one of the best things that we can do is actually have at least one business out there. So now that we know we have at least one business out, actually we have 3 who have signed up. One has really written a check. The other 2 will be writing checks soon. And all these businesses who really like to participate in the Adopt a Home program, they're welcome to sign up with us. Individuals are welcome to do the same.
Definitely. And that sounds like Habitat for Humanity is doing a lot for the community. And it's been very nice having you here. And thank you for speaking with us on GC360.
Thank you for having me.
National Hispanic Heritage Month may be halfway over, but Georgia College is still doing its part to celebrate. Morgan Matraw gives us an inside look at what this month means for Latinos on campus.
While looking around the Georgia College campus, minorities seem hard to come by. As of spring 2013, Latinos accounted for only 4.6% of the Georgia College student population. Caucasians, on the other hand, account for 82.7%. Those figures are from the Georgia Board of Regents. Each year, Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. It's a time of bonding for Latinos on campus.
Now that we have Hispanic Heritage Month, I think there is so many opportunities for us Hispanics to show our culture to everybody else. And because we lack of the resources as far as numbers, we can't really do that.
This month provides a special opportunity for the Latinos on campus to come together and reminisce.
Well, I was born in Peru, and I moved here when I was 6.
I was born in Florida. I was a baby of reverse immigration, which means that instead of being born in Mexico and brought here, I was born here and I was taken to Mexico.
Georgia College students may not be very diverse, but those who have a foreign background share a phenomenal bond.
Since we do have a small number of students, it's about 4 or 5% Hispanic Latino, I think it gives us the opportunity to get to know each other a lot better.
Georgia College also has a multicultural sorority, Mu Sigma Upsilon, and a multicultural fraternity, Lambda Sigma Epsilon. The diversity on campus provides an opportunity for everyone. Even though it is more difficult for minorities to grow up learning 2 different cultures, students think positively.
I was able to communicate better and see things with 2 views instead of 1.
Keep an eye out for the Latino Student Association's salsa dancing event coming up on October 18th. Morgan Metraw, GC360 reporting.
Vegetarian Awareness Month began on October 1st with World Vegetarian Day. This year, one group of Georgia College students is working to educate students about alternative eating lifestyles. Lauren Bensman found out more for GC360.
Georgia College students were encouraging Milledgeville to try a more animal-friendly diet. The Ethics and What We Eat class is raising awareness about nutrition and helping students make wiser choices about what they eat.
Read labels, definitely. I know it's hard because as you get healthier, it is more expensive, but you can always, like even local farmers markets have cheap prices for smaller quantities of food, and yeah, reading labels is just really important.
Okay, perfect. Professor Mark Causey is teaching these students about the food they eat, where it comes from, and how to find healthy, locally grown, and environmentally friendly alternatives.
To get out of class.
Mainly just a greater awareness of where their food comes from and to be a little more thoughtful about their choices, both for health and for the environment and for the animals.
This past week, they invited students from across the college to take a vow to go vegan.
Basically, you're making like a vow to like say that you're not going to eat meat for, however many days. Like here it says every meal in a day you won't eat meat, or 3 to 4 days in a week, or 5 to 6 days, or 1 to 2 days. So it's just however, you think that you're capable of, not consuming meat in that day or that week. So.
For GC 360, I'm Lauren Bensman.
That's it for us today.
We'll see you next week on GC 360.